Greetings everyone. The content of this video is the special cash package equivalent to LTC. It is for the block year 2018-21. The central government has decided to give encashment equivalent of LTC comprising leave encashment and LTC fare, and it is for the block year 2018-21. Cash equivalent of full leave encashment will be allowed. Let us check what are the criteria for this. The deemed LTC fare for this purpose is given below. Category of employees. The deemed LTC fare per person round the trip 36,000. The employees who are entitled to business class or club class, that is the band of 14 and above, they can claim per person 36,000 for LTC encashment. Then employees who are entitled to economy class of airfare, those can claim 20,000 per head. It is between 9 to 13 pay band, and up to 8 pay band they can claim 6,000 per head. Employee spends a sum of 3 times of the value of the fare given above. So those who want to purchase things, they have to spend 3 times more than the base value per head. Let us check the details. Pay level 14 and above, entitled for air travel or business class for the purpose of LTC. Those are come under 36,000 category. Now let us check the rules and regulations for purchase. Purchase of such items availing such services which carry a GST of not less than 12%. So any goods or services we can purchase which has the GST of 12% or above, and the payment should be in digital mode. Voucher indicating the GST number and the amount of GST paid should be submitted for reimbursement. F. Leave encashment as admissible for LTC and deemed fare, depending upon the spending, as per example given in Annexure X that we will look later. So encashment is admissible for LTC and that is the deemed fare. Look at the TDS. TDS is applicable in the case of leave encashment. A person can surrender 10 ELs for leave encashment, maximum 10 EL, and in the entire service 60 ELs can be encashed as part of LTC. So this encashment is subjected for TDS, tax deduction. But LTC fare is in lieu of deemed actual travel. The same shall be allowed exemption. LTC fare or deemed fare is exempted from TDS filing. The lines of existing income tax exemption available. Hence, TDS shall not be required to be deducted on the reimbursement of deemed LTC fare. So, TDS shall not be required to be deducted on the reimbursement of deemed LTC fare. TDS we have to give only for leave encashment, no TDS for deemed LTC fare. Then third, receipt of invoice of purchase made service available. And it may be noted that in order to avail this package, an employee should opt for both leave encashment and LTC fare. But this is not exactly like this. In the FAQ sessions, they clearly give us the suggestion that without encashment of the ELs, we can encash our deemed LTC fare. An amount up to 100% of leave encashment. Leave encashment is not compulsory. If you want, you can surrender the leave and encash it. And 50% of value of deemed fare can be paid as advance. So the employee can take an advance of 100% of leave encashment and 50% of the deemed fare can be taken from the department as advance. Then the claims under this package with or without advance to be made and settled within the current financial year. So all the purchases and the advance and purchase bills should be settled within the financial year, that is 31st March 2021. On or before this date, we have to settle all the dealings. Then if you take more advance and you need not purchase all that money, you have to pay the penal interest for that money as per the rules of LTC. Then there will be in force during the current financial year till 31st March 2021. So this will be effective till this year's 31st March 2021. Now this is Annexure A. Pay of an employee. Take an example. 1,38,500 and he has a family of 4 eligible economy class travel. So leave encashment for that employee is his salary into 1.17 into 10 divided by 30, that is 54,015 rupees. Then fair value is he belongs to the category of 20,000, that is economy airfare. So 20 into 4, that is 80,000 is the fair value or deemed fair value. Then total value could be 1,34,015. Adding these two, 1 and 2, we will get this result. Then amount to be spent for full encashment. And if the employee want a full encashment, he has to pay this much amount, 2,94,150 rupees for buying things or getting services. Share of leave encashment in total. Let us check the share of leave encashment. This is 54,015 into 100 divided by the total amount he has to be spent. So encashment is 18%. Share of fare in total, that is the LTC fare, deemed LTC fare, that is 27%. This is the ratio we have to reimburse. 3 times of notional airfare, that is 80,000 into 3. 80,000 is the result of this one. The 20,000 per person into 4, that is 80,000. Then 2,40,000, that is the 3 time. Thus, if an employee spends 2,94,000, 15 or above, he will be allowed the cash amount of 1,34,015 rupees. He can encash from his, that is the rule, the says. This include 10 days of leave encashment plus leave encashment plus deemed LTC fare. Deemed LTC fare. However, if the employee spends Rs 2,40,000 only, so less than he has to be spent, then he may be allowed 18% on account of leave encashment, Rs 43,200, and 27% on account of fair value, that is 64,800. The total amount payable shall be 1,08,000. So an employee can spend the maximum or a little above or more than the fair value. So the proportion will be taken, that is 18% for the encashment and 27% for the fair value. Then as accordingly it will be calculated. Then 1,08,000 he can acquire. So this says us that we can purchase at any amount and we can get the reimbursement as accordingly, like the 18% of leave encashment and 27% of fair value of the LTC, deemed LTC. Now let us check some FAQs related with the LTC encashment. First, required to take leave to avail this LTC cash voucher. Need not take leave. That is the reply. Then, exhausted the prescribed limit of leave encashment for LTC. Whether an employee can only avail LTC fare without claiming leave encashment. An employee can avail this scheme utilizing the applicable LTC fare without leave encashment. So without leave encashment also an employee can avail this facility. Newly joined government employee, 3 hometown and 1 anywhere in a block year of 4 year. How this will be regulated? The employee may use any one of the LTC available in a block year, because this encashment not only for anywhere in India but for hometown LTC also. Hometown LTC also. So a newly recruited employee can take any one of the hometown LTC. Special LTC provisions. For example, travel by air in Andaman Nicobar or Northeast Jammu Kashmir, normally eligible of an employee. Special packages would not be applicable. So, some employee in special cases, they are allowed travel by air to these places, but that rule does not enact with the special package. It is related with only normal eligibility of an employee. No special rule will be allowed here. Then whether we have to submit single bill or multiple bills. Multiple bills are accepted. From date of issue of the MO, end of the financial year, the bills should be dated within that period of limit and a GST of 12% and above, and the payment should be mode in digital mode. Then whether it is prescribed format applying for this. Any prescribed format? No prescribed format. Simple application. Availing the scheme if advance is required for the purpose, the same to be mentioned. What are the items? Any goods and services which attract GST of 12% that we can purchase and above would qualify. The invoice with the GST details should be submitted and the payment should have been made through digital mode. These are the two conditions. The GST must be 12% or above and payment in digital mode. But in goods and service, food items are not included in it. Food items are not included in the list of goods that we have to remember. An employee having 4 family members eligible for LTC wants to avail this facility for less than 4 members. Further, he wants to avail LTC for rest of the members. Is it possible? Yes. Can avail the scheme in partial LTC of part of the eligible family. An employee incurs the expenditure on or before 31st March 2021 on the basis of invoice. The reimbursement is based on production of invoice with the details of GST. As far as possible, the claim should be made and settled well before 31st. That is the case. For digital payment, an employee credit card, his spouse or any family members, it is clarified that the invoice which is being submitted for reimbursement under the scheme should be in the name of the employee who is availing the scheme. The invoice should be in the name of the employee. Payment can be done with anybody's account who are eligible for this LTC. And in another FAQ, this clarification is given further. You have to remember, you have to read that also. In there, it is clearly stated that any person who are eligible for the LTC claim, the invoice or the payment shall be done in his or her name. That we can check later. Can service like interior decoration and phone bills be included? Any service which is having a GST component of more than 12%. Any limit of number of transactions? The number of transactions may be limited to a minimum extent to avoid any difficulty. There is no such limitation, but limited to a minimum extent to avoid a difficulty. Then e-commerce platforms purchase, yes, it is permissible, but it should have an invoice. Now let us check FAQ second. Workplace and hometown are same if the LTC is exhausted? No, the scheme is in lieu of one LTC available during the block year. Does not have enough leave or less than the minimum balance of 40 days. Avail leave encashment for LTC, eligible for leave encashment this scheme. Leave encashment is to be accordance with the LTC rules. The employee can, however, avail the benefit of scheme without the leave encashment if such encashment is not available. So, if an employee doesn't have any encashment EL in his account, then also he can avail this scheme. If an employee has already availed hometown LTC only for self in 2018-19 along with the leave encashment, then the block year 2020-21 and for remaining family members from block year 18-19, yes, he can claim leave encashment as per the scheme provided. It does not exceed the maximum limit of 60 days. Here, 2 times an employee can claim the encashment. The maximum encashment should be below 60 for the entire service period. If one is availing LTC, can the spouse avail LTC leave encashment separately? Yes, the husband and wife, they can avail LTC claim separately. Then, if an employee avails only deemed LTC fare without a leave encashment, reimbursement will be on pro rata basis. Then, pro rata basis, on the basis of the ratio, the encashment, the reimbursement will be done. Purchase of goods service on loan EMI will be covered under the scheme. Purchase on EMI basis are also permissible, effected after the issue of the order, that is 12/10/2020, and should have an invoice. Then fresh recruits on his 8th year. Yes, one block year of LTC to be foregone to avail the benefits. Fresh recruits are not allocated block year. Yes, they can also claim for it. Check, DD, bankers check, NEFT, RTGS, all these are payment modes. These are the digital payment modes. Digital payment modes. Defense canteen. Can you purchase goods from defense canteens? Yes, it should have more than 12% of GST. Then exhaust the 60 days of leave encashment. If an employee has already exhausted 60 days of leave encashment, can he further avail? No. Can he submit bills from January 2021 to March 21st? Yes, provided transactions occurred on or after 12/10/20 are submitted before 31st March 21. If a child is less than 5 years, yes, he can also be claimed for LTC fare. Autonomous bodies, yes, all autonomous bodies implementing LTC schemes similar to the central government. Then purchase different items under the scheme, like washing machine, mobile, AC, like that. Yes, anything can be buy. I availed home LTC in 2019. What is my eligibility position for LTC encashment voucher? 2 LTCs, hometown or anywhere in India. If one has been availed and the other remaining, the same can be utilized for this purpose. Advance taken to be settled within 30 days prescribed advance. As this is a special cash package, the rules relating to advance taken under LTC are not applicable in the present scheme. The advance taken under the scheme shall be settled on or before 31st. Whenever you take the advance, no problem, you have to settle it before 31st March. The invoice of the goods and services purchased as per the scheme may be in the name of spouse or any family member who are eligible for LTC fare as declared in the service records. This is another clarification. Now FAQ 3. Without opting for leave encashment, as per records he has sufficient EL encashment purpose. An employee can avail this scheme utilizing the applicable LTC fare without opting for leave encashment. Leave encashment is optional. This is the clarification for the bold letters in the order. We can avail this LTC fare without encashment option. Employee opt for only deemed LTC fare without the leave encashment and spends less than 3 times of the deemed fare. How the reimbursement would be? On pro rata basis, on proportion. In case of expenditure less than the prescribed 3 times would be 1/3 of the actual expenditure. The proportion will be calculated there. Like if you encash 80% and deemed fare 27%. Can an employee avail leave encashment for less than 10 days? The number of days of leave encashment for LTC, 10 days or less than 10 days, is to be in accordance with the relevant provision of LTC rules. Yes, we can. Now, if an employee buys a car or any other item or service whether it is mandatory to submit original bills to DDO, claim of the warranty and ownership of the item. No, self-attested photocopy would be suffice. Then the vouchers bills to be submitted avail the scheme owner before 31st March. Employees who are due to superannuate on 31st December. Such case settle before the date of superannuation. Then annexure. Example 1. Without leave encashment. Without leave encashment also we can utilize this LTC purchase rule. Claiming for family of 4 eligible for economy class air travel. Look at the fare value. 20,000 per person into 4 members. It is 80,000. Amount to be spent for full encashment. 80,000 into 3, that is 2,40,000. 3 times of notional airfare. 80,000 into 3, that is 2,40,000. So you have to spend 2,40,000 rupees and you can encash 80,000. Cash benefit is 80,000. And if an employee spends say 2,000 and this, if an employee spends say 2,40,000 or above, he will be allowed a cash amount of 80,000. For this class, the 9 to 13 pay bands, they can, if they are only 4 members, they can get this much of amount as encashment. And however, if the employee spends less than 2,40,000, if the employee spend only 1,80,000, then he may be allowed cash amount in the same proportion as illustrated above, which comes out rupees 60,000 in cash. Like he spent 1,80,000 and the actual is 80,000, then divided by the maximum spending, then 60,000 he will get. Then example 2, without leave encashment, claiming for family of 4 eligible train travel. This is 6,000 into 4. This is the 1 to 8 pay band. 1 to 8 pay band employees. They get 6,000 per head. So 24,000 maximum if they encash the fare only. No leave encashment. Amount to be spent in full cash benefit, that is 72,000 he has to spend to get the benefit of 24,000. Then 3 times of notional train fare. And if an employee spends 72,000 or above, he will be allowed cash amount of 24,000. Then if the employee spends less than 72,000, for example, he spent only 48,000, then he may be allowed the cash amount in the same proportion as illustrated above, which comes out 16,000 only. 48,000 into 24 divided by 72, that is 16,000 only he will be. So he will get only 16,000 reimbursement. Now let us check the enclosed pro forma for claiming this. This is the details bills of voucher. Detailed bills, voucher items, GST number, payment or transaction, rate of GST, total amount. All the bills we can mention here. Details of 10 days of leave encashment, 10 or less than 10 or no days we can use it. Details of advance taken, that also we have to mention here. Thank you for watching the video. If you like it, please thumbs up and share it with your friends.